Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Zach. For those who the first time here, I'm 21 years old Russian who left Russia because of the war. And today I'm making an interview with Andrei Panyushkin from the city of Горячий Ключ, Краснодарский край, whose house was put on fire because of his anti-war position. Andrei, can you introduce yourself? Tell a little bit about the story, why and how your house was put on fire. Do you think it was intentionally? And just why?
No, okay. Hello, guys. Well, as Zach said, I'm Andrei Panyushkin from. I was born in Krasnodar. It's pretty big city at the southwest of Russia, not too far from Black Sea, and I moved to spa resort in mountains, Горячий Ключ, and it's a unique place. It's not too populated, about 25,000 people there living, but this place well known for the whole world because it's suited next to Wagner Group training camp. Believe me or not, but a lot of my neighbors involved in kind of criminal activity with this illegal armed group. And I used to be a university teacher. I used to be, and I'm still, I know, good IT guy, but past 5 years, I'm mostly involved in political activity. I was independent candidate for municipal elections in 2020. Then I helped my neighbors as a head of volunteer group to rescue my town from the flood, which occurred in 2021. And in 2022, as a journalist and eco-activist, I was involved in publicity, published a lot about eco crimes in my region, and I started publish information about my fellow neighbors who protested against this war. And because I was against authorities, so police decided to prosecute me, to make some false allegations against me that I'm kind of criminal guy. And in the fall of 2022, I decided to move to Europe for a while as a tourist. And as Zach said, at that moment, I didn't stop to tell my neighbors about war crimes which Putin still making in Ukraine. I met a lot of refugees from Ukraine, crying children and crying women from Ukraine. I spoke with them. I conveyed this honest information to my neighbors, to my subscribers, and a lot of my neighbors, which kind of Wagner's members, they said, you shouldn't come back. You shouldn't stay. You should stay in Europe. We don't want you here, and we don't want your anti-war propaganda. So, in the beginning of December, someone set on fire my house, and in 4 hours, it burned to the ground. That wasn't end of all bad things, all catastrophe, which happens with my family. Yes, my daughter, my teenage daughter, and my wife survived because they moved to the weekend to their parents. But in 10 days, someone tried to stole items from my burnt house. So someone intruded to my house, and police, when police came to my house, they said, well, it's nothing there. It's just burned to the ground. Why we should investigate here something? It's nothing. It's rubbish. Don't ask us. At the same moment, I don't know why I'm so unlucky. I was so unlucky in December, but in the same moment, the 10th of December, Ron Wishers collect information about my tragedy of my family. They collect this information. They send this information to very, very powerful, most powerful, I would say, next to the Putin. They sent information to Ramzan Kadyrov, which is head of Chechnya. They sent him an official press release about my situation from my Echo NGO, and they asked him to help me. So that was, I think, kind of provocation, because that people informed me that, Andrei, you know, we are trying to help you. We inform everyone, every supporter of PMC Wagner, that you are against the war, that you are against PMC Wagner, that your house was set on fire by allegedly Wagner's group members, and we were just trying to help you. And that wasn't not everything, because in January, someone duplicate my SIM card issued in Russia, and they stole access to my social media. That's, well, for now, it's almost whole story. For the current moment, police do nothing. About my case, they just interrogate my wife, and police just said to her constantly, a few times, via telephone and personally, but without record, please ask Andrei to stop propagate any thoughts against war. So that's my story.
Yeah, Andrei, can you explain a little bit more to my viewers? Why do you think that accept your propaganda? Can you propaganda, anti-war propaganda, let's say? Why do you think they have a reason also to put it on fire? Because you, as you explained to me before, you caused many problems to them even before the war, because you were exposing some of the ecology problems, and you were the person who was kind of trying to oppose corruption, and like not corruption, but let's say the wrong moves of the administration in your region. Can you tell a little bit more about this?
Yeah, well, you were right. That's all about corruption. It's all Russia. I mean, all administration in Russia about corruption, about money. So, as I call it, mafia state. I used to work in Europe, and when I came back, I decided to fight for civil rights. So I started from the beginning, from key point of any free country, free elections. So I started control free elections in 2017. Then very famous in Russia, so-called election of the president Putin in March 2018, so 1803-18, and that was first time when police called me in 5 minutes when I registered myself as an independent observer. Observer, yeah. So I registered myself, and they called me in 5 minutes and said, please come to us. We would like to talk with you about how you shouldn't do and how you shouldn't behave there in the school, which is election site. And you should, we would like to speak with you about freedom of all that commission, election commission, and everything. So that was hidden threat to me, and I was head of all independent observers in my small town Горячий Ключ. So I was taught how to do this in Krasnodar, and I taught my fellow neighbors how to observe clearance of elections. So I told some of my, not too many, unfortunately, some of my neighbors how to do that independent observations. I spent 25 hours in the school observing without sleep. And I think I made most clear, most real election in that day in the whole, not in the whole country, but in the whole region, I guess. So after that, local administration, let's say they remember about me.
Yeah,
so
they were angry about you after that.
Yeah, they were angry about me. Well, because I made bad statistic for them. And since 2018, I fought for civil rights. All my neighbors asked me a lot of times, maybe thousands of times, could you help us in our issues, first of all, with police. So someone was beaten very hardly, and my neighbors asked me, we know that you are a guy with hard balls. So help us fight with police together. And I did all that activity as just an average guy. I'm not a hero. So I just spoke together with my neighbors, with police officers, with local authorities. So that was my, as I said, think, and I'm still thinking, that was my obligation to fight for human rights. I wasn't at that moment any kind of official activist or member of any NGO. I was just involved in a lot of activity in my small town about civil rights and about ecology, because Горячий Ключ is a spa resort. So I fought a lot for environmental speak about environmental problems with my neighbors. I fought with local authorities. In 2020, I made huge problem to my local administration with my independent campaign. I spoke a lot, maybe in 2 months, I spoke a lot with my neighbors. I ran very, I think, loud campaign, pro Putin's candidates, members of United Russia Party. They called me and they said, Andrei, stop saying that, stop campaigning against us, stop doing anything, let us win. And because I was taught how to observe elections, I had at that moment very professional team of observers. At that moment, we had 3 days election because of COVID. Yeah, that was municipal election to the municipal council.
Oh, I see.
So deputy, I should be deputy to the municipal council. So it's like independent branch of the power of authorities. Yes. So it's a very basic level of power, authorities. So long story short, my election was stolen. My votes were stolen because it's not possible to believe that if you have 3 spots, you can't have same number on all of them. It's not possible.
It was exactly the same number?
Absolutely, that was absolutely the same number. these spots were in different places of my town. So people met me differently in that sport. So in my around my house, people know me very well, and at that place I took a lot of votes. But in other places, people didn't know me as good as another place, but they just draw same number for the 2 or 3 uh, spots for election.
Mm-hmm.
And because I felt that I need to fight for my rights furiously, as I fought for my neighbors' rights, I filed a complaint to the court. That was 1 year long prosecution, some investigation, and finally nothing. They said, just, you should be agree with this. It's Russia, baby. So why?
It's Russia, baby.
That's
Wow,
it.
it explains a lot.
Yeah, that's right. So after that, and because I became more and more famous, more and more active, and administration more and more understood that I'm pain in their ass. So at some moment, I decided to become more official, more involved in political activity. So I became member of eco movement in my region, Eco Watch of Northern Caucasian, which is a non-commercial organization for Krasnodar territory, Adygea. It's a small republic inside Krasnodar territory. Sometimes this happens, and some of border regions of Krasnodar territory. So at that moment in 2021, I became official human rights, eco rights activist, and same time journalist. So I wrote articles for regional newspapers, for regional media, and I became more or less known blogger at that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Andrei, you became from every year a bigger and bigger threat to local administration. And eventually, when the war started, you mentioned that you left to Europe. And later in December, your house was set on fire. Well, firstly, tell me, what was your reaction? How did you get to know that your house was set on fire? What did you feel? What were your first actions? And eventually, how did you understand it was intentionally?
Well, that was chain of events. In October and November, I was banned and excluded from some of public platforms in social media, in social networks in my region, because I wasn't owner or administrator of that platforms. So at the beginning, they just try to, pro-war groups, they just try to silence me a bit. But I'm pretty active guy, so I put more and more effort to speak about war, that it is not great and absolutely not possible to kill people in the Ukraine. And when my neighbor across the street, she called me in the night, is 8 p.m. December 3rd, and she literally said, Andrei, your house is burning. And that was WhatsApp video call. And I saw roof of my 3-story house set on fire, but not whole. I mean, just the side of my southern side of my house roof was completely on fire. And at that moment, I thought, no, it's not possible. I'm in Matrix. It's not happening with me. I having some nightmare. It's a dream. So I was shaking. I called my wife and I called my my neighbors who also against war, and I told them, please guys, go to my house, make videos, communicate with police, communicate with firefighters, help them. That very moment, I understood that it is all made on purpose, because neighbors opened gates to my yard, but firefighters decide to stay on the street. And it is about 40 meters from the street to the house.
Oh, wow.
So my neighbors, in real time, my neighbors told me, you know, that firefighters, agents, they don't have enough water or power to extinguish that fire. So that not they're not put not enough effort. Yeah, they let it burn to the ground, and that was most terrible event in my life, because I built that house by my bare hands with my daughter and my wife. So my daughter, 14 years old, and I built that house for 15 years old. So it's like my first son.
Yeah, second child.
First child, because I
yes,
started this before my. Well, that should be my family only house for a whole life. I mean, that should be heritage by my daughter, I think. I put in that house all my savings from 1 year job in Europe, from my businesses which I sold and invested all money in that house. So that was literally like my first child, which you put your most efforts in the first child, and second one, like, okay, I know what to do with the children, so second one will be like spare parts.
Yeah.
well, I'm joking, but at the beginning, I saw that firefighters did almost nothing with extinguish that fire, and then police, neighbors, they try to pretend that nothing happens. No one see anything, nothing happens. But I know for sure that all my neighbors, officially members of PMC Wagner. If let's imagine that will be just a conflict between me and someone else, like a civil conflict.
Yeah, it would be personal conflict.
Just personal conflict. Why it happens in 2 months after I flee Russia? Everything which involves emotions should be
right away,
immediately, instantly. But someone waited in 2 months and then set on fire my house. So I have no other explanation why as I told you before. Someone cut power supply to my house in 16 hours before fire. So at the early morning, 4 a.m., December 3rd, someone entered to my yard, cut supply line, and waited until all my cameras, backups, and everything discharge, and then set on fire, more safe for them. So there is no other explanation why it happens.
Yeah, as far as you also mentioned, there was a fire expert who later claimed that it was an intentional fire that was set by somebody else, right?
Yeah, so by default, any such situation like huge fire should be treated like criminal case, I think, in every country. So police, right from the beginning, right from the 3rd of December, they trying to pretend that it's just a coincidence. It's some shortcut of electrical supply line, and it's like natural causes for this fire. And they printed, I mean, police officer printed typical, same in details explanations which he kind of took from my neighbors, and all that explanations, reports said that, well, we saw that a lot of electrical lines on the roof. We think it is not arson, but it is a natural causes of power line shortcut. In the middle of December, firefighters expert finally filed report that it is not natural causes of shortcut, but arson. And therefore, police had nothing else to do but to start criminal investigation about arson from unknown group of people. But in the 3 days, I wrote to police 3-page long list of persons who might be involved in this alleged arson, and police investigated no one from that list. So it's like you know probable criminal who is responding, who is responsible for this arson, and they say, no, we can find him. You know, we can find this, we can find anyone who protest against war, but we can find anyone who set on fire your house.
Yeah, right. Do you think they were not able to find those because most of those people are on Wagner and they are right now under Bakhmut somewhere?
Well, you're kind of a prophet in this case.
Yeah.
Yes, so that was because police like to write a lot of letters to anyone who asks them about why you didn't do that and that. They file me some report that we could find that guy, but you probably know that he's fighting that special war operation.
Yeah, special war.
So
it's a nice name for it. It's a real name for this, not special
yeah.
military
So
operation.
if police really wasn't interested in silence this case, they should ask guys, all the persons from my suspect list, 3-page long. They should collect information from CCTV cameras. They should collect evidences from the ground, in my burnt house, in my yard, everywhere. And police, they didn't do anything with that. They just asked for people. They didn't even ask neighbor who called me and said that my house set on fire. So they literally do nothing to investigate this case. Well, as far as I know, for this moment, 2 members of PMC Wagner already buried in Горячий Ключ, and that guys was my closest neighbors. So literally closest neighbors was buried from the beginning of December till middle of the March. It's how many people involved in my small town in that war activity.
That war, yeah, against Ukraine. Also, before interview, you mentioned to me that you were going to go back to Russia before your house was set on fire, but you got some messages. They were saying that, but you should not come back. And basically, this whole fire at your house, it was like a huge message that you should not come back, because basically you will have nothing to what you can get back and build your life, basically.
Zach, you said that you are not like a dude, that Russian famous interviewer in journalists, but you are. You have a great ability to ask right questions.
Thank you.
So that's really my case, really an example. First of all, that's an example for the local people in my small town. Look at Andrei, look at his family, look at his house. So please shut up and say nothing about this war. Just be silent and you will be okay. That was like first message. And second message, because my NGO, Eco Watch for Northern Caucasian, pretty famous organization and independent organization in my region. So that was message for all members of my NGO. It's not too many people, it's like 100 people in that. And they said, look at him. If you, eco-activists, will be against war, you will have the same result as Andrei have. So shut up and say nothing against that war. As I told you before, I spoke with Ukrainian refugees in France and in Spain, where I'm now. I spoke with crying women and children. And because I'm very sensitive man, I'm Buddhist and totally against any violence in any forms. So I was really honest with my neighbors and I wrote them in October and November. Look at that innocent women, children who suffered from what you did, what Russia did. And I said that, guys, even collecting goods for medicine, copters, you know, that trousers, uniform. So helping in any case to military power invaded Ukraine, you are helping literally killing people there.
Yes.
And I was loud and I was honest and I was banned in some groups and publics. I was banned for these anti-war speeches. But I sat in the end of November because I was tourist at that moment in France. The end of November, I said, I'm coming back. I want to fight against this war in Russian soil, in my house, in my small town, in Krasnodar territory. And I think someone decided of course, war activists together with local administration decide that if I will not have house, if my family will not have property there, items there, all I belongs there, just he will just not have a reason to come back. And he will stay in Europe, and maybe we will cut internet, and that will be all. You see, my problem that as an IT guy, I continued work remotely with as a content writer and front-end programmer. I had at that burnt house, I had server which I used for working with my customers, and I lost not only my family lost not only our property, but I lost also only source of my permanent income in that house.
Mm-hmm.
And because after that fire, I became very more or less famous guy. You can search me, Google me, and find articles in Russian and English about me. So after that, believe me, since December, I tried to find anything as a new source of permanent income, new remote job. But I think any employer just search me, find that I'm anti-war activist, and they don't know.
Especially in Russia, yes.
Yeah, well, I have no legal rights to work here.
To work outside of Russia. Yeah.
So I may only work as a remote employer in Russia. So everyone search me. Oh no, fuck it. We don't want to be involved in any political activity.
Yes, I see. And the last question I have to you, Andrei, after all this persecution from the local administration, police like Wagner, whoever set your house on fire, after all of those events, what is your plan? Because you still have your family, you still have your wife and daughter in Russia, and you are in Spain. And like, are you going to relocate them, or you're going to come back to Russia? What's your plan?
I have only my family. That's all. I have only one suitcase with my trousers and t-shirts, and that's it. And some good guy rented for me a room here in Spain. So I applied for refugee visa here. I have no rights to come back to go out from Spain, because then I will lost my rights to claim refugee status. And what is more important, I want now, and I feel now, almost the same like Ukrainians feel, that I'm average guy, do nothing bad to Russia, to Russian people, and anyway, I lost everything. So I have kind of energy and anger to tell more and more loud my Russian fellow citizens that, guys, we will pay for that. We will pay for that as a whole country, not only regime, but anyone, because you completely destroy and still destroying Ukraine. And I can feel this sorrow which Ukrainians have now. So I can do this until my family in situation of refugee in Russia. So authorities know where is my family, and they know how to reach them. And you see, they also suffering huge and very harsh PTSD after that fire. So my daughter and my wife, they are completely devastated because we lost everything. And my only thought is to move them here to Spain somehow. And again, because I lost also source of my income, so my idea is only to collect, fundraise money to buy tickets, to make them with us, and bring them here to the safe place. Then I will not stop speaking with my neighbors and telling them that I'm like you, just normal guy next to you, living next to you, and we lost everything. Same like Ukrainians. And this is not because we are Nazis, we are some dirty pigs, like Russian government said. We are just against war, and this is our only our guilt again, according to pro-war activists, which set on fire my house. So I want to ask you guys, help me bring my family here, and I will be more loud, more insisting anti-war activist. I hope that my honest speech directly to my neighbors, which know me very well for past 5 years, my speech will help stop this war faster and to start curing sick, very sick Russians who were brainwashed, heavily brainwashed for past 20 years. So as far we be able to speak with them as with sick people, that will help us start building free Russia sooner, not later. That's my dream, to build free Russia.
I agree with
and
your
of
dream.
course, then I'm sorry. Of course, I'm pretty mature guy. Yeah, I like, of course, I like free Europe and free countries in Europe. But I would like, in some day, come back to Russia and put all my efforts, all my experience into rebuilding my country. I don't want to stay here until regime fell down. I will go back immediately after that and build my new country.
I agree with your dream, Andrei, and I have the same. And I hope sooner or later it will become true. Well, thank you so much, Andrei, for this interview. Once again, if you want to help Andrei to relocate his family from oppressive Russia, there is going to be a link in the description below to PayPal and to buy me coffee. Make sure to check this out. And yeah, thank you so much once again, Andrei. And I hope everything is going to be okay with your family and with you in Spain, and that you will be somehow comfortable over there. And I hope this war will end soon, and there's going to be peace in Ukraine and freedom in Russia.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you. See ya.